Hello, everybody, and welcome to nftwins. Well, today we're gonna start with a big old mustache, because all know it's Movember. Oh yeah, it's almost peak time. For those who only listen to us, well, sucks to suck, because you're missing out on a mustache.
We should make this our new logo, the mustache.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, man, gotta keep the ladies away with a stick. That's no, it's actually horrible. I hate it, but it's gotta stick to it to the end of the month. Anyways, all right, guys, welcome to the podcast. Today we're gonna talk about vertical AI agents, and are they the future? Will they replace big teams, or is it just a far-fetched future?
What the heck is a vertical AI agent?
Exactly. Okay, it's like, what could it be? Well, it's basically an AI agent or multiple AI agents that can work together and then basically replace entire functions. So, for example, if an AI vertical agent, for example, for HR, then you would have an AI bot or an AI agent who would actually do the interviews, one who then afterwards evaluates it. Then you have a supervisor. So basically, they talk all together, and then they can evaluate, for example, potential hire, and then do all the process. Right now, what we're seeing more and more on the internet. For example, support agents. Okay,
Yeah.
if you Google AI support agents right now, you probably are going to find 50 or hundreds of offers like, I'm going to build you the AI agent, AI support agent. But what they are doing is very, very basic stuff, right? So you have drag and drop. So you fill out all the information, for example, FAQs or upload documents, and it can answer all these questions, which in theory is nice if you have a very simple business and just want to answer certain questions. But as soon as you want to have, for example, you're a big company and you have, I don't know, let's say 100 dedicated people, 200 dedicated people who are only responding to tickets, and these tickets are very, very complicated. Okay, and that's when you need like certain AI agents which are able to do that, right? Good example for these would be, for example, parahelp. So, for example, they were actually in ycombinator.
Wait, what are they called?
Parahelp. So,
Okay.
they're actually working directly, integrating directly, I think, with Zendesk. So basically, you can directly integrate with the ticket system, and then you can it basically helps it solves most of the cases. They're actually doing, I think, 50% of certain. Well, let me check it out. I think 50% of captions. All the inbound messages already dealt with these kind of agents. So
That's cool.
that's also kind of interesting to see, right? Because you would not have thought that the market is actually that wide open. Because as we mentioned, like if you Google it, AI agent or AI support agent, you think it's like very crowded, but in the end, because they're just doing the very superficial ones, which can't be really used by bigger companies, you need like really complex workflows, etc. Because otherwise, they're not good enough to basically cover the needs of bigger companies. And that's like, for example, what parahelp is doing. And then another one would be, for example, gigaml. Okay, so gigaml is
gigaml.
yeah, gigaml. It's also YC. They went, I think, in winter or summer 2023, and they're supporting also B2C companies. They actually are focusing on marketplaces. So in this one, they, for example, helping Zepto. Zepto is a marketplace, a huge marketplace. So if you, I think Zepto valuation, let's see, Zepto market valuation.
What does Zepto do?
So a Zepto valuation is a grocery delivery startup, Mark.
In India.
And yeah, and they're valued at 5 billion. Okay, and
Yeah.
imagine how many freaking tickets come up on on that. Man, you brought the wrong groceries. Man, I did this. They were wrongly delivered. Think about all the what humans can do, right? In an agent. Well, an agent who's like work in India, whatever, because they're cheaper there. They're like, hey, oh yeah, sorry, this is the support. Okay, well, I'll give you a refund. Now you have for AI, of course, you have to give so many guidelines, and then of course pathways that it gets to certain decisions. So it's like hundreds of decision trees that it can just then work through, which is like crazy. And yeah,
But do you think they have these decision trees, or do you think the AI makes it on its own?
No,
I
I
think
think
this is
they
like
have
a
workflows.
pre-written by
They
human.
have workflows. Even if you go on the website, it says like workflow builder. So basically, you have they built these workflows. Similar, what we did also not with Blend AI. So Blend AI is basically voice AI,
Yeah.
similar to what was the other VAPI AI. So you
Yeah.
can build workflows yourselves. For example, one of them for
So
wash
workflow
by
is a
desk.
decision tree for those people who don't know. So
Exactly.
basically, let's say you have a condition. So basically, hey, if I don't know, caller is female, do this. If caller is male, do that. If caller, and then in the next one, does the person state their name? Yes, no. Doesn't state the name. Please ask them to state their name, etc. All these kind of things.
Basically, we did that the same when we did Wash by Desk. So Wash by Desk is one of the startups that we did, or at least ideas that we built, was an AI receptionist for vet clinics, and we also use like these decision trees. It's basically you had to categorize, for example, calls. For example, if the vet or the pet itself, is it's an emergency call, is it non-emergent, is it urgent, non-urgent, and then based on these steps it will follow the path, also whether it's just like for medicine refills, etc. And then there are of course like global conditions, which then always bring you back to certain conditions. So that's like very, very interesting, and we're seeing it more and more coming out. And it's very, very interesting to see that these companies are actually now basically pushing in like bigger companies, which I really like to see.
You know what I was thinking when I listened to this podcast? Well, it's in a YouTube video, I guess, that got sent me by a commenter about um, AIs in general,
Vertical.
verticals,
Hmm.
yeah, vertical AIs. And one of these things is super, super interesting. What they were saying is Lucas already mentioned this, that there's the space is really, really complex and it's still not really penetrated deeply the market.
Yeah.
But they're also talking about what are companies that could be replaced. So, for example, they give this example from back in the day in the 90s. All software was on a CD-ROM, like a CD. And out of this, then these got replaced with SaaS businesses, software as a service, because SaaS businesses were based on the cloud, specifically and cloud computing. And the technology that enabled this was then an HTML, XM, whatever request. So basically, making a browser responsive so that you could have JavaScript running into the browser and you don't have to refresh automatically. Just you don't have to refresh manually, but it does it automatically when it loads new information. And then they were just making the reference as well in what is it now? For example, these businesses, uh, well, hard software like a CD to SaaS, and now LLMs. Because LLM is the technology that will enable then these SaaS businesses to be replaced or even be done better. Because the problem with SaaS businesses, not the problem, but that could be done better is biggest like businesses right now that buy these SaaS like
Yeah.
software, the biggest cost for them is not the software in itself, but there's still the employees who have to use the software. So at some point, you can also replace the people, the employees that the company has, and just pay it for the SaaS business. Well, or in this case, the LM, the integrated LM, which is fucking amazing. So instead of charging 5,000 per seat, you can charge them 50 to 100K per subscription or even more,
And does
and
everything.
then they can replace, I don't know, 20, 30 people, which in the US can be a couple million.
Yeah, it's HR, right? For example, the entire HR process, you can teach
Exactly.
it on certain, and then I could hire in this case. Also, what I find is very, very fascinating is if you think about, because they're basically making they're making the point for that these companies can be way bigger than SaaS, which I believe it makes sense because just like from thinking about it, as Mark mentioned, yes, you need first the people who also then run these business, well, these softwares, right? So, for example, some of them might be relatively easy, but if you think at SAP, so SAP, very complex, and then you need a big team to understand it.
It's
It's like basically looks like out of the 90s. It's a horrible software, but still, well, very complex. I put this way, and still, people are using it, and they're paying so much, and then the teams must be huge because they need to understand it, work with it,
yeah,
etc.
because of the cost of switching is so fucking high.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Actually, what I was just thinking about it, like one of these ideas, because like we're still in a very early stage, right? Like I say, first inning or whatever. But think about
Bro, not
later.
even.
Later, you will have also like a Slack, but just for AI bots. So the idea is basically that, because how do they communicate, right? Because you need to have a way how certain. Well, of course, you have a database, but think about it. You always sometimes need somebody to check. I just think about what about there's a Slack just for AI bots? We can, as a human, can look into it as well. But if you
Are
have
they super
entire
complex?
But think about, you had like an entire department, like for example, marketing department, and then you give them different jobs, and then they would communicate in that, right?
So
Because
I
they
I think the idea sounds, what you think sounds cute and cool, like it would be like something in a movie. But I think in reality that wouldn't make much sense. They would rather have an action log, because the thing is you don't want
that
to
is the
know
basic
what they do.
action log
No, because
using
you
it.
want to talk about conversation, but you just want to see what got done, right? What was done. I
Yes,
don't need
I
to know how
wouldn't.
they communicate. I just need to know what happened in the day, right?
That's what I meant. Like basically like an action
Ah,
log
okay.
that, and then you can see, right? So for example, hey, AI one did the slides, the presentation, or the ad
Yeah, but you
assets.
don't even
Okay,
need a presentation, right? Like in these kind of things, you just want to see the outcomes.
no, the
No, you're just
assets.
like,
I'm
hey,
talking about the asset. The
ah,
asset
okay,
for marketing, right? For a marketing
okay.
campaign, you want a Google campaign. Did the asset, the assets, the ad assets. So the other one did the headlines, etc. So that's like, because like in the end, you would still need like certain AI bots dedicated for certain, or AI
So I think at some point the AI would
agents.
also then create checklists, so that you could probably then see checklists and they were like, hey, check, check,
Exactly.
check. Because otherwise, again, it would be too hard to do. But if you have workflows in terms of, hey, marketing, and then you break it down into the different tasks and a big, let's say, stories as well as the subtasks, then you would have, all right, create the ad set, create image,
Well,
create ad set, create the
I
actual ad,
was
go live with the ad, and then maybe also directly have how's it performing.
I was
And
just
then yeah,
thinking about WeWeb,
that'd be sick.
where you have like the flow, right? You have the flow, and then when you debug, you see like where the actually problem is, and the same could that then be from the AI agents, right? They're talking or whatever, and then like, okay,
Yeah.
why is it stuck? And then you see, okay, um, the the ad asset guy couldn't create images because the prompt was stuck at the other guy who was supposed to create it, and stuff like this. So you could then debug the entire flow, because in the end you would need less people for entire thing. You just need more engineers to walk through the entire process. So I think
Yeah.
that's very fascinating.
I think that's super, super cool. Super interesting in that sense. You know, I was thinking also, then it made me think about TikTok advertisement. How ads created by AI will impact the future. Because nowadays, I feel like, at least this is my perception, that the best ads that I've seen or something are the ones that don't seem like ads. So the
Yeah,
ones that are user generated content.
yeah.
Like for example, this stupid chocolate, the one, the sex chocolate. I mean, it's stupid,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
sex chocolate that you broke apart and then you're like, you give it to a partner. I was like, oh,
Have you
let's have
bought it
sexy
yet?
time.
Have you bought it already?
Exactly. No, fuck no. So, but the point is, that was like 2, 3 years ago, and it went viral. So you have a lot of marketing, great marketing for this kind of thing. And I think still that we should do this for our like apps, I guess, this kind of content, because I think this is still and will be in the future like that, because it doesn't seem like an ad. And I'm not sure how long it will take for AI to be able to do these kind of ads, because you're doing some really, really cool ads right now. I think they're super nice. Lucas has
Very
very
basic.
basic,
So basically, just
so
prompt.
cool.
Ask ChatGPT, create me a prompt. From that prompt, I create an image. From the image, I create a video. So I use a different AI tool. So basically, the thing is, it's not perfect, but at least it's like movement. So you can basically make I think it's a 4-second video that comes out, at least for a free trial. And then you, of course, because you want to have the Facebook ads between 10 and 15 seconds, you can just loop it, which is then makes it longer. But it's like very cool because it's like, you can tell it's AI, but at the same time, it's moving, which is like, right now you don't see it that often, especially with person. Like normally right now you see images, so I think that makes it novice, or at least people haven't seen it much. So right now, well, we'll keep you updates, of course, in the next weeks, how that's actually performing. But I
Hmm.
think that in the future, of course, all of this you can just type it in and you get an entire ad out of it. The thing is, again, you have to keep it very consistent, right, with the product, because that's very hard, because the switching hands get longer, the image of the iPhone or the phone gets
Yeah.
like, but yeah, it's a different story. Mark, I have another topic I want to talk about, because now we were talking about,
Mm.
we're making all the audience like nervous, like, oh my god, talking about this is so complex, so AI vertical agents will take everybody's job. And then today I just came across an app that I'm actually using, and I have them on my
Ah,
phone,
yeah. I
and
know
it
what you're talking about.
makes almost 10 million. Actually, well, in 2020 or 2021, it made almost 9 point something million. And now you're wondering, what is it? It's a solo founder. And what is it? It's called the motivation app. Okay. It's literally just like you have on the phone and you get
Uh,
every day. Wait, let me pull it up here. Let me pull that bad boy
but
up.
is it a notification or just in the widget?
It's just in the widget, and when you open it, you can just get a motivational quote. Fate loves the fearless. James Russell Lowell. Okay.
Oh, you don't
So
even see that. You don't even in the widget. You don't even see the quote.
no, well, sometimes you do. Yeah, I can see it there as well. Yeah, I can see it in the quote there. So yeah, I can see it
Ah,
there. But of course, and you go in there, you get it because sometimes because they have, of course, free tier and then a subscription. If you don't have the subscription, then after a few days you have to open it again. Anyways, so the thing is, what was really, really smart, how they in exploded is because in 2020, when iOS, for example, released their widgets, they
mhm.
were one of the first who had these widgets, and then Apple just boosted them. And then they started making, I think, the first few days, I think 100K, 100 or 80K a day. Okay, a day.
It's insane.
And now then over 2021, they I think leveled out at 25K. I've checked it today, but with a different app. So Sensor Tower is a free one because the other one that I found was with a Tweak app. Anyways, difference is I think they're making at least 300, 400K a month. So between 10 and 15K per day. And it's literally just motivation. There's just think about it. You can have an AI generating these quotes or look them up, or you can just say motivational quotes. You can generate them and then just push them, and it makes so much money. Then it's like for me, it's quite interesting to see that you have on the one side very complex AI startups that are trying to solve certain problems, and then you look at their revenue. Right, some of them make like 10 million as well, and then you have on the
Mhm.
other side a one person team, one person who builds an app for motivation, which is very not complex at all. And then,
Most basic.
yeah,
Just
this the
one
most
quote of the
basic.
day.
Yeah, exactly. Quote of the
Doesn't get more
day.
simple than that.
And that's it. And they make the same money, right? So for me, that's like, for me, this is a little bit mind blowing because you can see you can make money with both of the ways. You can
Perceived
just
value. It's all about perceived value.
exactly. There's also like one of the things that I think we will still see in the next few years that some of these vertical agents, well, or AI supports, that are not bringing so much value yet that they will be like struggling with it, right? So, because some should focus on doing one thing right and really great, because then people are willing to pay for it, right? Instead of if you want to have an like what is called the animal that can do everything.
Ah, that doesn't exist in English.
Yeah, well basically you don't, that's not possible,
It's
so
like a golden goose, basically, that
yeah,
lays like
yeah,
lays like golden eggs kind of things.
yeah.
Goose that lays golden eggs. Yeah, that's what it
But
is.
still for me mind-blowing. You have then 9 million there, 9 million there. That one is one person who probably spin it out on a weekend, and yeah, makes the
Well,
same
this
money.
is also another thing. I think the one of the extra lessons that I want to take out of this one is that timing matters in the sense that you can be
Oh yes.
lucky, or when there's something a new feature is rolled out on something, a massive marketing channel, or let's say the
Well,
technological
iOS
advance.
brings out a new feature.
Exactly, iOS brings out a new feature, and you added this feature because you were aware. Because iOS usually lets developers know in advance, like months or 3 months, I think, what feature will become coming out, for example. And so you could be like, oh, okay, this like widget feature is coming out, and then you build something for it. And then obviously, because once the feature rolls out, they want to have something to feature. And if you're one of these people that was thinking ahead and saw that, you can get lucky and get featured on this kind of stuff. Thing everything like these kind of categories, like because obviously it makes sense for Google or Apple in that sense to run ads or promote these kind of things because end of the day they're getting a cut, whatever dollar they're making, they're getting 15 to 30%. So
And yeah,
fuck
that's
yeah, makes sense.
that's definitely worth it. All right, Mark. Anything else to say? Or
Hell
if
no, I
not,
think it was a good one.
all
I
right,
liked it.
everybody. If you like it, please leave a comment below. Let us know what you like or what we can talk about in the next chapter. Of course, give us a subscribe. And if not, of course, catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Without the mustache, ladies and gents. It's going to be without the mustache. So
Not sure.
enjoy
Not
it.
sure. We'll see.
I think so. But all right, guys. Bye.
Bye.